Madison Square Garden. Knicks right now on their way to the conference finals.
All right, welcome back to Knicks for Clicks. My name is Rami, Lavi. My guy Bryce Gelman with here. How you doing, dude?
What's up, dude? How's everything? I'm excited to get into this. We got a great guest coming up here. Really good
awesome guest again today. And by the way, just another night. I know we talked about it a couple of nights ago on Sunday, but it was another night where I had on the big TV, I had the Knicks on. I know there was a lot of other stuff going on TV, World Baseball Classic, whatever. We could get into that if you want, but the Knicks were the main event for me, even against a game against Indianapolis.
Yeah, here's the thing. I was at Sirius XM. I was producing that night. And I have to admit, I was watching the Knicks game. I wasn't watching the World Baseball Classic. I mean, let's be honest here. I had to watch Josh Hart train 3 after 3 after 3, and I have to eat my words mid-game. You had to tweet me about that. That was fun. We'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, World Baseball Classic and something we discussed before this. We're gonna touch on with JJ. I know this is a Knicks podcast, but a certain special someone didn't come through in the clutch again. So we'll talk about that with JJ.
Yeah, it's like I've seen that enough times. I didn't need to watch it during March. Like I've seen it enough during like when it really matters in October. I don't need to watch it also in March. But for me, there was an easy decision made once which TV was getting the volume, which was on the big screen. Once I saw Mike and Clyde were on the call. For me, that's like my uncle and my grandfather are together, like talking to the Knicks about me. Like it's just the best. I love them so much. I love them more than either my uncle or my grandfather. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I don't have any uncle that I love as much as Mike or Clyde. And it's just so much fun to have them back at the call, to listen to them. There were some funny moments I posted on TikTok also with, Jalen's going to give it to Josh, you know what I mean? Or Josh is going to give it to Jalen after the game. They're so perfect together. It feels like they haven't done a game in forever. So it was just so enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've said this a multitude of times before to you and a bunch of other people that, like, we're so blessed to be able to listen to those two guys. And I know Clyde is, to be honest, it's called a spade a spade. He's probably on his way out, but we've been blessed to hear him for years. And just Mike Breen, like, it seems like it's, it's just like it's second nature for him. He comes on, it's so natural, and like, you kind of get lost in it. The one guy that he really reminds me of, he's the basketball Vin Scully.
Yeah.
Straight up, like you can listen to him narrate anything, just the way he weaves in and out the storytelling, and also just like the humor, and like he's just a normal dude. I love the conversationalism between, him and even Monica McNutt and everyone else he has on. Just, I know, quick little aside here from both of us, but he's the GOAT. Clyde's the GOAT. We're very lucky.
Yeah, his storytelling is incredible. The way he can make you feel a story, and his humility that you talked about is remarkable, because he knows how great he is. He knows who he is, and I'll tell it a different time. But when I've met him a couple of times, he's just been incredible. So like he's so cool. He's so great to have as the Knicks broadcaster, and we're lucky to have him. So that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if him and Clyde are on together, and that's why the last couple of years they went to 6 games in the first round of the playoffs. Probably against teams they shouldn't have, although the Sixers were better than their record. But the point is, I didn't care because we got more Mike and Clyde together because you got the first round of playoffs.
And it's unfortunate now that the NBA has gotten rid of local broadcasts doing the first round of games, which is just like, what are we doing? And maybe it's not because of budget cuts from other team local broadcasting. But listen, this is MSG. Like it shouldn't just because the Magic have an issue sending their broadcaster somewhere doesn't mean we have to.
Or at least like have the simulcast like they do on some nights where it's nationally televised, but you could simulcast it also on MSG, whatever. But yeah, it's unfortunate that's what's happening to the game a little bit though. Somebody wanted Josh Hart out of the lineup. And
I never said that. I never said that. You call and like I did the whole Mike Francesa. I never said that, but I never did say that. I just said, hey, let's not play him 35 minutes in the game.
Wait. No. Okay. Sal said, who would you take out? And you
the starting lineup, not the lineup, the starting lineup. Let's be honest here, Rami. I didn't say the lineup. If it was the lineup, then yes, I'd eat my words. But I told you.
Well, you got what you wanted. He didn't play in the fourth quarter, so I don't know. What did he end with? Like 28 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, listen, but that's the perfect amount of time. He was unbelievable. You get every once in a while a game like this, and obviously this is probably his best game as a Knick ever. But sometimes you get this type of game from him. And my biggest gripe with Josh Hart is, especially when he's not knocking down threes, is the inability for the Knicks to have spacing with him on the floor. And when he's not hitting shots, they aren't able to maximize their spacing. Of course, when you get a game like that from him last night, that's not a problem. So listen, I think I've been pretty steadfast on this point with you on this podcast. Now that this is the second week of doing it, but just me in general. He had a really good game last night. Let's not use it as justification to play him 35, 40 minutes a game for the rest of the year. But hey, listen, we'll take it, right?
33 points in 26 minutes. And you're so right, because when he's knocking down threes, I think there were certain points in the game that they had him and Mitch on the floor at the same time, but you're able to do that when he's knocking down those threes. So otherwise you can't do that at all. And you mentioned that the whole point is to have spacing for Karl. And I think it's not talked about enough, because we've done 2 episodes. This is our 3rd already. And we haven't talked enough about Karl-Anthony Towns, because if he was playing poorly and he was dragging the team down and he was crying about fouls and not playing defense, we would be dragging him, because that's what Knicks fans do. And that's what Timberwolves fans did before that. That's what any national media does. You see the way Chuck and Shaq talk about and to him. So I understand that people like to get on him. You also have to give him his fair share of credit, because since the All-Star break, and I tweeted this out for the last 6 weeks, but this is exactly since the All-Star break, 21 points per game, almost 12 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists a game on 59% shooting, 43% from 3, and 68% true shooting, while playing excellent defense, not complaining, rebounding, I mentioned, like a beast. He's made hustle plays. He's not making the stupid dumb fouls, not the dumb plays. His head has been in it the entire time. He's not.
Did you see that stat the other night where it was Cat had 25 more offensive fouls than anyone else in the NBA?
Yeah.
And the majority of those were pre-All-Star break. Well, good thing we didn't have a podcast a month and a half ago, because
I would tell you that this team can't win because of Karl-Anthony Towns. That's what I'd be saying if this was a month and a half ago. And that's why I have to be fair. I have to give the credit where it's due, because he's been the steady guy. Forget about, Jalen's had the ups and downs. Josh has had the ups and downs. Obviously, Mikal's going through a terrible down right now. The guy who's been steady throughout all of this, who's been just steady, not just good, but really great and underappreciated, almost underrated, because he's just been himself. He's just been good, has been Karl-Anthony Towns. And I just want to appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%. That's also something else I want to talk to with JJ, and just a little preview. We're definitely going to get into some gambling stuff. He's, Mr. Gambling with this, with everything he's got going on with the Ringer. So we're going to talk about that. I want to get into, Knicks and Eastern Conference Finals odds and how he feels about that, because I think both of us have some pretty strong opinions on where this team's going to go. If you watch the first podcast or listen to the first podcast, we appreciate it. Everyone tuning in and listening in, however you're taking in your podcast. Something we talked about with Sal Licata, of how far is this team going to go? And it's going to be a reoccurring trend here on this podcast of we're going to have this conversation. It's going to change. It's a very rapidly changing, evolving league. And it's the same with our New York Knicks. You know how we are. After the losses, season's over. After the wins, we're going to win our 3rd ring here.
Or after the first quarter in Utah, we're feeling like the season's over. Either way, we'll get into all of it with JJ. Like you mentioned, he's awesome. So subscribe so that you find the podcast whenever it comes out. We'll have an awesome conversation with the great John Jastremski. All right, happy to have with us, or maybe we're doing him a favor because we got him off daddy duty for a couple of minutes. JJ, John Jastremski from The Ringer. What's up, dude?
Fellas, it's always a pleasure to see 2 rising media superstars. I love the fact that now you guys are kind of joining forces on this Knick podcast. And let's hope, fellas, that is a very successful run for you guys, because it means the Knicks are having themselves a very successful April, May, and June. So the pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having me.
So that's the question we'll start with, I guess. What are your expectations for April, May, and June?
Well, it's pretty simple, guys. The Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau, in early June after losing to the Indiana Pacers. The edict was right then and there. Get to the NBA Finals. That's the way I view it. If they don't go to the NBA Finals, there is no way in the world you could tell me the season was a success. I don't give a rat's ass how many games they win between now and the end of the regular season. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. The year before, they were in the second round. The year before that, they were in the second round. And let's acknowledge the Eastern Conference is going to be a behemoth next year when Jason Tatum's fully healthy and the Celtics can reload their team. Indiana, who the Knicks, I know, finally they beat them on Tuesday. It was easy. What a concept. They actually had an easy win against the Pacers. But they're going to get Halliburton back. They may have a top 3 pick for all we know.
Yeah.
And they're going to be heard from, plus Detroit, plus, I'm not a Cleveland guy, but you get my drift. If not now, when for this group? And I think it's pretty simple, guys, and we'll get into this. If this group can't get to an NBA Finals this year, then I think there's got to be some serious soul searching when it comes to looking at the roster saying, hey, this iteration of the Knicks, can we continue as is?
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves here, right? Like we're not there yet. I might be there with one of those guys, Mikal Bridges. I'm not. We did a lot of Mikal Bridges. I could literally talk about him for 25 minutes. Very disappointed what I've seen from Mikal Bridges recently. But you kind of touched on some of those other Eastern Conference teams. Like, how seriously are we taking the Celtics this year? Like they got rid of a bunch of guys and they weren't expected to be good this year. Joe Mazzulla is one of the top coaches in the league. Derek White's solid. Jaylen Brown's an MVP candidate. How are we feeling about the Celtics after Jason Tatum's return here?
Well, they're frightening. And to me, they're frightening, Bryce, for 2 reasons. One, Jaylen Brown's having the best season of his career. And a lot of people have made the comparison to 1994 Scottie Pippen when Jordan went and played baseball. And, Jordan maybe had some gambling debts that he was dealing with. I mean, I don't know what the deal with Michael Jordan not playing in the NBA was, but be that as it may, it was an amazing season for Scottie Pippen. We've seen that with Jaylen Brown. But what has made the Celtics to me super scary is coming off the Achilles. I figured, okay, Tatum's going to come back and look super rusty. He's going to look like a guy who needs a ton of work. It's going to be a work in progress. Maybe you have a moment or two in the postseason, but it's just going to be this like feeling out type deal. And he's not going to look like Jason Tatum. Well, fellas, I'm not watching the Celtics every night, but anytime I've seen him play, he looks like freaking Jason Tatum to me. That's scary because those 2 guys plus Derek White went and won a championship. But I know Holiday was there and Porzingis was there. But you're seeing wonderful coaching from Mazzulla. They're fitting in those complementary pieces. They'll get Vucevic back. Knicks can beat them. I mean, they beat them last year. But I thought it'd be a walk in the park type of series. Like in early February, Super Bowl, Knicks beat the Celtics. They smoked them. I'm like, okay, Knicks play the Celtics. I'm not necessarily concerned. Now I'm pretty concerned.
Yep.
So what would you predict happens this postseason? You said what your expectation is. What's your prediction?
Maybe this is the optimist in me, Rami, but I'm going to say they go to the NBA Finals. And
that's what I said.
Listen, Detroit has absolutely embarrassed the Knicks. The games have been non-competitive. Non-competitive. Detroit has seen the Knicks. They've laughed in their face. They've embarrassed them. They've punked them. It's regular season.
Yep.
It's still a very young, raw Detroit team. They're even going through some struggles right now. It's kind of hitting the dog days of the NBA season. I am not looking at these regular season matchups and saying, hey, that's what you're going to get come playoff time. Because, guys, let's go back a year. The Celtics. Knicks couldn't beat the Celtics. Couldn't beat them.
Yep.
Couldn't beat them. Didn't belong on the floor with them for 3 to 4 games. The last game they played was actually super fun at Madison Square Garden. I think Tatum hit a shot to tie it. They ended up losing in overtime. Yep. I remember this because my wife ended up going to the game, and she was, like, insanely pregnant. And I'm like, are you nuts? I'm like, it's not even a playoffs yet. I'm like, I get it. The Garden's great. Knicks Celtics is great. You know, the baby could be coming. She's like, nah, it'll be fine. She was fine. Long story short. But there was no indication to believe the Knicks could go and beat the Celtics. Then game 1 and game 2 happened, and the entire series changed. And I know Tatum got hurt. Guys, the Knicks beating Tatum in the Celtics.
Yeah, they're up 3-1.
They were a better team. Yeah, I would have found a way to win game number 6. But that was last year. Now it's this year. And I can make the argument the Knicks are a deeper team than they were last year. I don't think there's any question about that. I think that's what you have to give Mike Brown credit for the way that this bench has been developed and certain guys have stepped up. But it's been a weird vibe, feel, kind of sporadic and not knowing what you're going to get from this team on a day in and day out basis. So to answer the question, I think they're going to go to the NBA Finals and probably get waxed by whoever they play in the West. That would be my prediction. But because they've been so up and down, guys, I can't say it's given. It's not a given.
Here's my thing about Detroit, though. And obviously you mentioned what happened last year, and I was dead wrong on it. They were 0-10 against the three teams that I thought had a chance to win it all. And that's the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Thunder. And I was fervently proclaiming to every single person that I knew, like, the Knicks are not winning. I gave them no chance to beat the Celtics. I gave them no chance after they won game one. I remember sitting there before game two and saying the Knicks will lose this game by 30 points. Bet the alt line of the Knicks losing this game by 20 or more points. And guess what? They won again. So I get that. I understand that we have to look at that and we have to say, well, you know what? It can happen again. There's a difference when it comes to how the Knicks have played Detroit. Something about how Detroit comes out physically is a lot different than what we saw against the Cavs and specifically the Celtics. In a lot of those games against Celtics, specifically that first game of the year where the Celtics almost set the record in three-pointers made in a single game, like, they were just hitting their shots. It always felt, at least deep down, like, all right, the Knicks could beat them in one or two of these games. They almost did beat them in that last game at MSG. But don't you think with Detroit, there's like something else there brewing? Like, for the Pistons, that's like their Super Bowl every time they play them. Things could change in the playoffs, but isn't that concerning?
It is concerning. And I'm glad that you brought up the physicality aspect, because that to me has been the biggest red flag in any of these matchups. You can't get Jalen Brunson going because they have so many bodies. They have so much size / athleticism they can throw his way. It's problematic. Here's my counter. I think Cat's playing his best basketball of the year.
Yep.
Cat, if you guys go back to the series they played last year against Detroit, was instrumental in them winning that series. In fact, one of the main frustrations you had in that series is that Cat did not get the ball enough and that he was not involved enough. And when the Knicks said, oh, we actually have something we can take advantage of, he had a great game 3. He had the monster game 4, including the shot, which to me was the biggest swing and the biggest difference in the series, and had some monster moments. They're going to need that. And if they don't, let's put it this way, fellas, if they do not get big-time play out of Karl-Anthony Towns, and I know it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out, they are not beating Detroit. They need the Towns that we've seen recently, and they need the Towns that we saw last year in that Detroit series.
It feels like the last 6 weeks, though, and we talked about this before you came on, that's the Cat we've gotten. We've gotten the guy who's not only been physical and great on the offensive side, he's also been really good on the defensive side and not getting into the foul trouble and not overpowering or yelling at refs. Like, is it possible that we could see this guy for an extended 2-month stretch?
You know, I want to say yes, but he's an enigma. He could give you 5 great games, and then the next 2 games he goes and fouls out. Here's what it boils down to me. The aggressiveness has been there, but there's also a sense of poise, and it's not like, oh my God, he's running around like a chicken without a head. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When you have Karl-Anthony Towns at the top of the 3-point line, he's trying to go through 3 guys, and he's either throwing an elbow and committing an offensive foul or having the ball. It drives you absolutely insane. It drives you to drink. But this is a player, guys, that has been in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals each of the last 2 years. He did have, and a lot of people forget this, a monster game 7 against the best player in the world, still Jokic. SGA might be by the end of this year. I know some people are going to make the case for Wemby. I'm a Jokic truther. I still carry that card.
Yes.
For now, that could change by the end of this year. But what I'm getting at is he showed up in that game. That's your reasons for hope. He's done it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest catalyst, right? It's the biggest question mark.
Listen, I'll say this, guys. I have a lot more confidence in what I'm seeing from Towns as opposed to Bridges.
Yeah,
Bridges is
the words right out of my mouth. That was going to be that.
And like, I know last year, Detroit series, for the most part, was pretty good.
Yeah.
Boston, they don't win game 1 and game 2 without him.
No. Yeah.
But it keeps coming back to the picks. And I know it's an obvious first take, Stephen A. Smith point that you're going to see now for the next 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. But it's a true one, and it's an obvious one. The 5 first-round picks, they loom over him. Because anytime it's a bad game, anytime it's the invisible man act, which happens way too often. You watch him against San Antonio a few weeks ago, and you sit there and say to yourself, fellas, where is this damn guy?
Yep.
Why? And I'm not saying he's got to go for 30 or 35 points every single night, But you see that player, and then you see these games where he's like, I don't know what stat line it was on the West Coast. Maybe the Lakers, the Clippers, they all blend together, where he doesn't score a freaking point.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Come on. I need more.
Yeah,
Well,
I just think with Bridges, my whole thing with him is that when he plays well, it is very hard to beat the Knicks. Again, it's Towns. Like, that's the number one catalyst. But when we talk about most important players, when we talk about guys who make the Knicks unbeatable, that's Bridges. And like, here's the thing: since that San Antonio game, awful, terrible. It's his worst stretch of this season. It might be his worst stretch as a Knick. And you got a million people. You got everyone and their mothers trying to defend him, trying to say, oh, it's just a slump. It's just this. It's just that. I'm tired of the excuses. We're going to sit here and call it a slump. This has been all year long. Congratulations on shooting over 40% from three for the first 2 months. Now where is he? What is he shooting now? 37%? The Knicks need his shooting, particularly from the corners. That has been non-existent. And here's my biggest thing, JJ. And it's like now my biggest gripe with anything in any sport. And we're going to, Rami and I want to touch on something unrelated to the Knicks. We're not going to spoil it, whatever. My second biggest gripe in all my sports teams and everything, Mikal Bridges is as aggressive as I was in middle school. And my dad was on my ass all the time. Take the ball to the basket, Bryce. Seek out contact. And I didn't want to do it because you know what? I was a pussy. The thing is, my team didn't trade 5 first-round picks and a pick swap for me. That's the difference between me and Mikal Bridges. So Mikal Bridges, is there anyone else more frustrating on the Knicks team than him?
Oh, it's not even close. I mean, it's despite any of the issues you may have with Karl-Anthony Towns, there is still a level of assertiveness that you get, even when he's all discombobulated, even when he's all out of sorts. At times, I think he doesn't get the ball enough because of, hey, what's going on with Jalen Brunson? Hey, what's going on with OG Anunoby? Obviously, there's a lot of mouths to feed on this team. But Bridges, to your point, is soft. That's all there is to it. He's a soft player. And there are games where he has it. And this is why I think it's super crucial for Mike Brown to have this feel come playoff time. On these nights when Bridges does not have it, and we've seen this down the stretch over the last couple of weeks, he can't be on the floor to close these games. I don't care how many first-round picks you gave up. I don't care how much money you're paying him. If it's Landry Shamet, or if the matchup dictates Jose Alvarado, I don't know. It's obviously game by game, lineup by lineup.
Or even if Deuce gets healthy.
Deuce obviously will get back in the fold. We'll see what kind of shape he's in. But yeah, to that point, it's not a given for me that, hey, at the end of these games, Mikal Bridges has to be out there in the fourth quarter. No, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% agree with that. Now, let's go to the gambling aspect of it, because that's obviously a lot of the content you do. The Knicks, they've now jumped Detroit, by the way, in the odds to win the East, but they're still behind Boston and Cleveland. So, like you said it, you think they're going to go to the finals. I think that's a great bet. Like, they're almost 5-1 essentially to go to the finals. Like, should we be betting that?
Yeah, I think it's a good bet. I do, because I think you're still talking about a wide open conference with a whole lot of questions. I know a lot of people are high on Cleveland now since they've made the
Dude, James Harden is going to quit in round 2. He does it every year.
Anybody who expects anything different has just not paid attention to the NBA over the last
Exactly.
And not only that, Rami, that Cleveland team does not exactly have a winning DNA when it comes to playing basketball in April and May. Hey, we saw Indiana smoke them. We saw the Knicks smoke them a couple of years ago. That's a team I'm dying to play if I'm the Knicks. Sign me up right now. I have no concerns with the Cavaliers.
100%.
The Celtics are scary. And I get why the odds makers have dropped Detroit, because I think the odds makers are looking at a very young team and they're saying to themselves, starting to fade a little bit, played over their heads. Now, all of a sudden, you get them in a 7-game series, team going to maybe get a little deer in the headlights. I think gut feel, Knicks or Celtics are going to the NBA Finals. And I said Knicks at the beginning of the year. Why change that now? Knicks.
I'm with you. And look, toughness is fun in the regular season. We saw it with the 2021 Knicks, right? Toughness is fun in the regular season. Then you get to the playoffs, you need talent. And the more talented team wins. That's when you talk about Detroit. That's my opinion on them, at least.
I agree with that. I think pound for pound, Knicks are a more talented team. The caveat, though, Cade Cunningham going to be a much better player in the series than Jalen Brunson. Now, to be fair, last year, he wasn't.
Yeah,
because
Cade is unproven in those spots.
but he's much better player than he was last year. Much better.
I completely understand that, but if we're talking about big moments, Cade is not showing up in big games. Yeah, against the Knicks, that's a completely different story. It's like their Super Bowl. But how many times in that Detroit? I know I digress at this point when it comes to the Detroit argument. We could talk about it all day, but how many times during that series last year did Cade Cunningham have a chance to win those games for Detroit? Those pull-up shots from 15, 20 feet never went in. They clanked off the back of the rim, clanked off the backboard, and then the rim. Like, that is one of the factors in this. But I really think what it all comes down to in both conferences, not just the Eastern Conference, is matchups. The Knicks don't match up well against the Pistons. The Knicks match up well against the Cavs. Mitchell Robinson is the X factor. They cannot stop him to save their lives. Who matched up better? Cavs Celtics. Like, it's a lot about the matchups. Like that's my sentiment when it comes to the playoffs in the Eastern Conference.
I would agree with that. And what I've been trying to do, fellas, in like thinking about the next few weeks, because you're starting to look at round one. I'm like trying to go through the team in round one that I don't want to play. Like I haven't. It's not Miami. Earlier in the year, I would have said Philly. That has kind of changed because they're.
Yeah, but what if Bam dropped 80?
Well, I mean, I don't think you're going to get the Wizards. I don't think we're going to get Wizards defense. How weird is that, by the way? I was down at spring training, and I'm like, I forget where I was. I was like coming back from. I don't know if it was Yankees Mets. It's really irrelevant. But I got an update that Bam dropped 80 points. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what? Like, crazy. Yeah. And then I
think we all had the same reaction.
I did the research and saw, okay, this is what happened over the final
43 free throws.
I'll do it. That'll do it.
You mentioned that you would have to blow this team up if they don't get it done this year. So what does that mean? Like, because they shut down Giannis today, Milwaukee did. I'd be terrified to give up real assets for a guy with calf problems who's getting older. And his whole game is
doing this. We shouldn't be doing this yet. Come on, Rami.
You said you have to blow up the team. Would you go after Giannis?
Yes, I would. I understand those concerns. If they don't make it out of the Eastern Conference, see, if they make it to the NBA Finals, it's a lot easier to kind of sell the idea of, hey, we made another step as a franchise. We're moving in a right direction. Let's see if this team can go and take that next step. Even though, hey, beating Wemby, beating the Thunder, beating the Nuggets, beating any of these teams is really, really daunting and really, really challenging. But if they're in the NBA Finals, it's a lot easier for me to have that approach, Rami, where I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see it another year. They lose to Celtics. And I'm not suggesting, hey, Jalen Brunson's the captain of the team. I'm not suggesting something that insane. But as far as Giannis, that's where it's like, you know what? Is this group getting it done? Are they getting it done? And some would make the argument, hey, look at the Celtics. It took them a long time. They finally got over the hump with Tatum and with Brown. Tatum and Brown, I like that duo a lot more than Brunson and Towns. That's just
those two guys can defend.
Precisely.
Precisely.
So you're right. You could go and trade for Giannis. He blows out his Achilles. His game doesn't age well and ends up being an awful trade. Yep. He may also, who's to say Milwaukee says, screw you guys. I'm blowing up my team. I'm not helping you out. Like, it requires Giannis to go to them and say, please trade me to the Knicks.
I just want to go to the Knicks. Yeah.
Please make this happen. We'll make a 3-team trade. I deliver for you. You deliver for me, A little quid pro quo.
Quid pro quo.
There you go. Say that 10 times fast.
I can't see that happen. I mean, listen, like we're talking about, obviously, what is it? It's March 18th when we're recording this, 9:35 on March 18th. In 3 months, if we're talking about the Knicks losing the NBA Finals, it's not happening. Yeah. If in 3 months we're talking about, is Mike Brown still going to be the head coach right now? That means the Knicks lost early, and that means we're a clusterfuck like we were last year. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think when it comes to a potential, finals run for this team and potential, future after that, you want Giannis. I said this before, and I got a lot of hate for it. You want to get Giannis? You got to give up to get Giannis? You got to give up Jalen Brunson.
Well, that's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
I was
But
gonna say,
who is Giannis a better fit next to? Cat or Brunson? I think Cat.
it's
I
not
think that-
it's not a crazy take.
I think Cat. You know,
Not
because Giannis has always had a stretch 5 against him. Like, are you going to trade Cat for Giannis? Well, who's the center? Who's your stretch 5 next to him? Like Miles Turner, like Brooke Lopez was for years. You need that stretch 5. And listen, again, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. You know, I'm gonna move us on from this.
I appreciate that, but all I'll say is bookmark this conversation, and the minute the Knicks get eliminated,
Hopefully it's not by Orlando in the first round.
well, I was going to say that would be accelerating things quite quickly. Oh
Yes.
God, if they lose to Orlando in the first round, what a
That's the
nightmare.
team you're afraid of, right? The only one that they could.
Them, Atlanta, and Miami playing well.
Orlando.
You know,
Charlotte is good.
The team that I was actually going to say, and listen, Knicks shouldn't lose to any of those teams.
I agree.
The one that kind of scares me weirdly is Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're so young. Dude. Like, their vibe is really good.
I
right
love
now.
Charles Lee. Love him.
Yeah.
He's a great head coach. Rami, let's do this. We're going to do this. Knicks for clicks, whatever.
Yeah.
We're moving on from that for a second.
That's okay.
So, big number 99 the
Yeah.
other night. Yeah, last night. He had some good looks. Three pitches right down the middle, late on in that game against Venezuela, and as usual, he came up short. Are you part of the realists when it comes to Aaron Judge, the people who are able to tell it objectively that he does not show up in the biggest moments? The floor.
Yeah, listen, okay. There's a couple of takes on this from me. He has not been the same postseason player that he's been in the regular season. That's just fact. There's no arguing it. I'd say the same thing about Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds had an amazing 2002 postseason. Before that, he was not the same player.
A-Rod too.
Alex Rodriguez, precisely.
Until 09.
Or one amazing postseason. Had a couple of decent ones with Seattle. 04 was solid until the final 4 games. But Rami, excellent point. Not the same player. That is 1,000% spot on. Here's my problem, though, fellas, with last night's sort of narrative that's being shifted. Aaron Judge can't win in this standpoint. If he went 3 for 3 yesterday and hit 2 home runs and Team USA wins, the same people that are roasting him today, mark my words, these same people would be making the argument, hey, he does it in March for the WBC, but can he do it in the World Series for the Yankees? And people won't admit this, but it's the damn truth. They would have that take, and that would be the spin. So listen, I got into the WBC. I never have. This year, I'm not going to lie. Maybe it's because I need baseball back in my life. I bet on it. It was fun. Like, it was enjoyable. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Bet on it.
Well, I mean, I bet on stuff that I don't enjoy. So that's, there's a lot.
Then you enjoy it.
Debatably. If I win, I enjoy it if I win. That's usually how it works. But, like, it was a cool event. Like, I thought it was good for baseball, but it's not the postseason. It's not the World Series. There's no exercising of demons for Aaron Judge carrying the WBC to a title in March. Because, guys, if he goes 2 for 20 in the postseason next year, is anybody going to give a rat's ass in New York? Maybe they will in Kansas City or in California or Arizona. Hey, they might. Like Jack Hughes, obviously, 50 states, is a hero forever. That was not going to be the case for Aaron Judge. Not when you play for the Yankees.
Yeah, but forget about how we feel about the WBC or Mets fans or Red Sox fans clowning Aaron Judge. As a Yankee fan, someone who loves the Yankees, I know it meant more to Aaron Judge because he struggled, because he was swinging at pitches he would never swing at in a regular season game, because he was staring at pitches down the middle that he would never do. So that's my problem. This is what I've been arguing now with your guy C-Mac in the newsroom every day for the last 2 weeks. It's like, dude, I know it means more to him because I see him do things he never does. That's the concerning part. It's not that
that's fair.
Yeah,
Rami, that's a totally fair point. And if anybody's wondering, did this mean something for Aaron Judge? Yes.
Because he sucked.
Well, and from that, and all of these guys, despite the fact that they were not as flashy as the Dior guys or as animated as the Japanese guys, like, these guys really wanted to be in this thing. Like, this was probably the most star-studded United States team that we've had since this WBC has gotten going. Like, it felt like everybody wanted to be a part of it. I know some pitchers opted out, but look at the lineup. It was absolutely stacked.
Yep.
Nobody hit. Like, I know Judge is a part of it. And I said this last night doing TV. It felt like watching the Yankee playoff game. That's what I felt like. Yeah. Awful at bats.
Now everyone understands.
Judge in the middle.
Now everyone gets it. They get it now.
There you go. It was, and I had a Philly fan in my life text me. He goes, it feels like a Philly playoff game. I go, no. You can't be stealing our thunder. It's a Yankee playoff game.
It's bad enough we have to deal with it in October. Having to deal with that kind of stress in early March or mid March is just I can't.
Did you guys get into it? Did you like the WBC?
I like
shrug. Okay.
I liked it. I watched the games. I thought it was fun, but like you said, the Team USA carried themselves with this, like, hey, we're supposed to win this kind of attitude. And then the Bryce Harper home run, I was pretty fired up. I'm not.
I was too.
I was also like, oh shit, now Aaron Judge has to follow it up, and I knew he wasn't going to. I was rooting for him, but
just like I think with the United States, like there was like a lack of aura. If that makes any sense. Like all these other countries, the fans, they all showed up. They were really into it. And something about the US, like there was just like a lack of culture. I don't know. Like there was something to each country that was in it, that there was like, and a lot of people within the United States and people like talking heads have made points about like, oh, it doesn't matter at all. And like, that's the sentiment here. But in Dominican Republic, in Venezuela, you're telling me they feel the exact same way? That they're like half the country feels it doesn't matter? I don't think so. And like, I think like the lack of, there was mainstream attention, but like the lack of, I don't know, like there was a lack of enthusiasm altogether. People were into it. The people that weren't. I think that there was just like, it was a noticeable difference for me.
That's fair. I think that's fair. And listen, the fact that the proximity so close, Miami and Houston, to a lot of these Spanish-speaking countries, they were all in. Like I talked to somebody who was there. DR US was like a 60-40 DR crowd.
Crazy.
Yes, 60-40. In the United States, 60-40 DR crowd. It was like a 50-50 basically yesterday. Crazy. Wouldn't expect it. You're like, American home game. Not when you're basically playing in South Florida.
And when how loud they are, like it doesn't feel like it because they are making it's crazy. They're making a ton of noise. There's a party atmosphere for it. Now, I do think what dampened it was like all the restrictions, Scooble going back. Like if this was played, and the problem with this is if this was played in the middle of the season, like the Four Nations, then it would probably have more juice. But the flip side of that is the MLB All-Star Game and All-Star Weekend is the one sports All-Star Weekend that's actually still good. So like why?
And you're taking away from it. Now in theory, could these guys play All-Star Weekend and then go do a semifinal or a final for the WBC? I don't know. I saw Jason Stark tweet this earlier today, and at least caught my eye where it's like, okay, like if you do it that weekend and you just basically give them a week off, maybe that could work. Maybe I don't have an exact science to it. Yeah,
it's another thing you got to throw into this new CBA. It's going to take focus on figuring everything else out.
Well,
right?
here's what I would say though, boys. Baseball's got good momentum going right now. They got good momentum. They cannot be dumb enough to actually. Well,
they will.
The question is how many. Yes, it's going to be a lockout. Yes, it's going to drag on. Can we get baseball by May? Like, I'm not even greedy. Oh, you guys are back.
I think we're missing a season.
Yeah,
Rami, jeez, not what I want to hear.
If the Dodgers win again, you're missing more than this.
Is this one narrative about the Dodgers winning, guys? Like, they were inches away from losing the World Series last year.
Yep,
inches away. Like, don't get me wrong, they've won back-to-back championships. They've been amazing. I'm not trying to take that away from them. But like this idea that like they went through each of these postseasons and were like untouchable. They were not. Like 2 years ago, the Padres were up 2-1 and had a game 4 they could have won to send them home.
Yep.
The Yankees, we all know what happened in the World Series. I'm not saying the Yankees
blew game 1, blew game 5 though.
Yeah, inexplicable managing in game 1, stupid mistakes in game 1, and then the worst defense you'll ever see in game 5. Yeah, I mean, there's that. And Toronto outplayed the Dodgers in that World Series. They did. To me, they were the better team in that World Series, but they didn't win. They didn't win.
I think the Dodgers are good for baseball because I do think the salary floor is more needed than the salary cap. That's just my opinion. I think more teams need to be trying to win.
Well, you have a third of the league that just doesn't.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's a problem. The good news is it feels like in the AL, there's like 6 or 7 pretty good teams, right? The 4 teams in the AL East, I think, are all going to be pretty good. Detroit is going to be a playoff caliber team. I like Kansas City this year. AL West, I think Seattle's loaded. I think Seattle's going to be
their pitching staff is incredible.
I think Seattle's right now they're the team to beat in the American League, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think Seattle's the team to beat. And then the NL, Mets will be good. Phillies, I know they're older. They'll be in a mix. Atlanta bounces back. The problem is those central divisions. That's where you're seeing it specifically.
No one spends.
Don't spend. Yeah, they don't spend.
They're just there for the Yankees to beat them in the playoffs.
It's nice.
For real. Yeah.
And you're rooting for an AL Central team, by the way, when they play in round 1. I don't want to see Toronto or Boston.
100%. Can you imagine, though, if people talk about how WFAN doesn't talk sports now, July 2027, when there's no baseball, there's going to be 0 sports on WFAN.
I was going to say, you guys might be bringing out movies, rewatchables.
We're already doing that. All right, dude. You gave us a ton of time. I really appreciate it. You got to plug anything. Go ahead.
For you guys, anything. Yeah, New York, want to check it out. We'll have something rock and rolling. We got our baseball preview dropping in the next few days. Michael K already rocking and rolling with us. Working on a Met spot, TBD. And Bryce, you will like this one on Thursday. The old basketball coach of our alma mater will be joining me.
Give me B.
Mr. Boeheim.
Can you tell him that he ruined the program by retiring 5 years too late and now they're a mess?
There's some truth in that.
Dude, I know this again. Knicks for clicks, Yankees.
That's fine. There's also we could do a
mean,
dissertation on everything that's gone wrong with Syracuse over the last decade.
What happened yesterday is one of the worst headlines I've read in my sports fandom history.
Well,
objectively,
this is where I need to hear from the athletic director. And let me ask you this as a parting thought, Bryce. Yep. Is it worse if this Hodgson goes to Providence? Or is it worse if he says, nah, I'm staying at South Florida? I mean, either one is probably going to piss him off.
Providence, 100%. Because if he stays there, he feels like, hey, I have something going here. Like, I think it obviously depends, what they do tomorrow whenever they play for the first time.
I like them, by the way. So does everybody else.
I do too. I picked them, yeah.
So everybody else.
We'll see
Robbie,
what happens there.
Don't do it.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry.
We'll see what happens there. But Providence, 1,000 times. Don't you agree on
that? Either one is going to piss me off. I like Jerry McNamara personally, and he's done a good job at Siena.
Well, let's keep recycling through the program. Who's next? You want to coach in 2029?
Bryce, here's the problem. They should have given Jerry the job a few years ago, and they didn't.
Yep.
They completely butchered it. Yep. And now, if Jerry is their guy, they look like idiots because it looks like a second choice. It does. Now, I want to see.
Can you imagine if he stiffs them too?
Wow.
Can you imagine if he said, return to Siena?
That's a bridge. I don't know if he wants to.
You blow up the program. It's done. Get rid of it.
Then I might as well be coaching in a few years.
Are you going down? Are the guys? No, Tommy's off, and I guess Fleegs is off. Are you going down with those guys?
I'll be down on. I don't know if they're going Thursday. I'm going Friday and Saturday.
Well, Tommy and Fleegs are both off Thursday night, so I know that. So
okay. I will see those guys, and I'm going on the old abode with our guy Lou Gower. He booked me for the. I don't know what bone he has to pick with me. Well, he asked me to come on after SNY tonight, so I said I would do it.
Really?
Right. Why would I do it? Why not?
You're back.
I'm always back.
He's the guy who left on his own terms as opposed to everyone else.
Yeah. You didn't talk about Joel Embiid in Kansas?
I mean, he's the best. That's it.
He was wrong. He's learning. He's
listen.
I know it's your guy. It's amazing.
And you guys know about the drilling BT on the golf course story, right?
Oh
yes.
Dude. I still can't process that. Okay. Like, and I got to give BT credit for this. If I got drilled in the fucking chest, and it was not like a bouncer. No. It was a scold, 80-yard, boom. Dude, I'm like, I said to him when he got in the car, because he was like a little like naive to the situation. I go, you realize if that was like a foot higher, we have a real fucking problem here.
Yeah.
You're losing a tooth. You might be concussed.
Dead.
You have a black eye, like dead, worst case scenario. Yeah, like there's a lot of terrible outcomes. Instead, we get a great story to tell. But he took it like a champ. He was like playing the next hole. I was like, I get hit in the chest.
Out of everyone that could get hit, I feel like he would handle it the best. Out of every person you possibly could have gotten hit,
better than me.
He still hasn't responded to your text, Bryce, right?
Yeah, I got it stood up by
blew off
BT.
Bryce.
I'll have to. I'll take
No.
it. You know, I can.
No, it's okay.
All right.
We're gonna have him on at some point, and we're gonna have to face it head on at some point.
All right, there you go. I'm happy to broker. That's what I do around here. So, listen, I love the two of you guys together. By the way, this is a great pairing. I like this. I like this. This is good.
Get me on the golf course. Let's go back out to Staten Island. That was a great time. I had a great time.
Anytime. I'm playing Saturday. Those knuckleheads aren't going to get up at 9 a.m. to play. I am.
You're insane.
I got 48. It's going to be, first of all, it's going to be 60 degrees.
It's going to be nice. Yeah.
Second of all, I have an opportunity to play without wife and child. I have to take advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, there's a lot going on in the Jastremski household these days, guys. Come on.
I don't blame
you. All right, dude. Thank you so much.
Anytime, guys. You're the best. Thanks for a few minutes.
We'll talk to you. See ya.